So a few years ago, I was at the barbershop. It was my first time there, my first and only time there. So there were a group of students over there waiting their turn. And so I'm intensely focused at the mirror. It's going like bzz, 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 trying to figure out like, is he cutting my hair right? Yes, he is. But in the midst of those buzzings, I heard a group of students talking about college admissions, Dartmouth, Williams, and all these other colleges. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, I went to this school. I could so help. Suggestions, things to consider, all this kind of advice I wanted to give. And so now I'm just like super excited. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But then it dissipates because I'm thinking, wait, I don't know them. They don't know me. They got this. They'll figure it out on themselves. So the haircut's done. And as I'm walking out the barbershop, I freeze because all these memories come rushing in, like when I was at a coffee shop and I saw someone with an effective JavaScript book. Or when I was at the library and I saw someone with this AP computer science book. And each one of those times, I wanted to go up in them and say, hey, JavaScript, that's awesome, please. What can I do? What can I do to help? AP computer science, data structures, algorithms, let's talk. I'd love to talk about those. But I didn't because I was shy, I was apprehensive, a little bit embarrassed. But I thought, okay, this has to stop somewhere. So I turned back around, introduced myself to the group of students, and I said, hey, I'm Guedis. Please feel free to reach out if anything I can do to help with the college application process, etc. A few weeks later, one of them did reach out. And that turned into this beautiful, beautiful friendship. He's now at the school of his dreams, pursuing pre-med on the path towards becoming a neurosurgeon. So, by the way, I didn't go back to the barbershop and I figured, hey, I could actually probably just cut my hair myself. And then this happened. And then I'm like, okay, let me start going back again. So, my name is Guedis, it rhymes with lettuce. One, thank you JSConf. Thank you, all of you guys, for just being here today. I'm super excited. It's an honor, it's a pleasure, thank you. I'm a developer at iSIMS working with React, Node, and Java to build a better recruiting experience for both job seekers and employers. It's overall just surrounded by great people, doing good work, helping clients like Microsoft, Amazon, 7-Eleven, Southwest Airlines, Boys and Girls Club. Overall, a blast. But really, at the barbershop, why did I have to do that? Did I have to? Not really. But I wanted to. And it was because deep in my heart, I know that I wouldn't be here today without my mentors. I wouldn't have majored in computer science had it not been for my mentors. Nor would I even be the developer that I am today had it not been for my mentors. Their encouragement, their resources, their guidance, they were highly, highly, highly invaluable and important to my life. But more so, what they really taught me was just that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. You know, I believe that for our community to be more inclusive, more collaborative, and even more innovative, we need more mentorship. And now there is good progress being made already with formal programs like when you're a new hire or you're an intern and you meet with someone on a regular basis. I think those are great, and that's really good progress. That said, I'm not here to talk about that kind of mentorship. I'm here to talk about a mentorship that is more organic. It's more fluid. But that said, there are some obstacles with mentorship, obstacles that I myself experienced greatly. So by raise of hands, raise your hands if you consider yourself a mentor, or if you're like me, I do like the little halvesy hand, or I do like the quick one and bring it back down. And the thing is, at first, I didn't consider myself a mentor for many reasons. One, I'm like, I don't have the time. Two, I'm not part of a formal program, nor do I even really consider myself a quote-unquote expert. And frankly, it was quite intimidating. I'm like, those are some big shoes to fill. I mean, one, what if I'm giving the wrong advice? Or maybe I'm giving too much advice? Or if we really want to get to the crux of it, it was more of like, I'm actually pretty good. Why do I even need to or have to help? But mentorship is important, and it's for a few reasons. One of them, it helps them. You know, imagine the fulfillment knowing that you helped someone with their career, even if it's a teeny tiny bit. Or what if you helped provide one of those aha moments with a tool or framework or a concept? I still remember when someone explained the whole Redux Flux architecture to me, like, oh, okay, I see. That's how that works. I mean, I will never forget that day, because for the longest, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But then it clicked. At the same time, mentorship helps us as well. It's by paying it forward, we benefit in different ways. You know, there's been times, I remember, so I was explaining the JavaScript event loop to someone, And he kept asking these questions. It was this back and forth. And before I knew it, I realized, wow, I don't know this at all. I do not know this event loop at all, which forced me to go out and go find some videos on how that really works. There's been other times where just hearing people's life experiences, their perspectives on life, has only made my own worldview that much more dynamic and richer. But more so, I mean, you get to make a new friend, a new ally, a new supporter, where you're just helping one another reach your own goals and your dreams, all of that good stuff. But more so, I'm a big believer that there are certain feelings and there are certain experiences that money really can't buy. It could buy a lot of really good things, but it can't buy certain experiences and feelings that really only mentorship can provide. And more so, it just helps the community. I'm a big believer that what we put in, we get out. It's about raising these waters so that we're all uplifted together, more collaborative, more innovative, more inclusive. And it's more so, it's like this ripple effect. It's this ripple effect where you affect someone, and they affect another, and they affect another. It's like a boomerang where it's just like, until before you know it, just like, it just comes back with that help in return from nowhere, or you wouldn't even have expected it. Growing up, there's a lot of things I wanted to do. But one of my goals is always to really make an impact on this world. How can I make the world a better place? And while I still haven't come up with that solution that would affect millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, this quote, the fact that maybe to the world I may just be one person, but to one person I may be the world, it makes me realize that even if it's just one person I'm affecting today, I mean, to me, that's key and that's important. And throughout the course of my life, I will forget many, many, many things. And I've already forgotten many already. I've forgotten many names. I've forgotten all the places a lot of you people work at. But the things I will always remember are those who helped me. Those stick with me. So this is the mentorship I'm trying to talk about. People need your help, and you can help them. You want to help them. And more so, it also benefits you as well. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't even have to be so involved. It's more about a mentorship. It's organic, it's fluid. To me, it's really more about sharing what you can, when you can, and how you can. Mentorship is like walking through a garden with a watering jug. And so you're walking through a garden, and sure, you can choose one plant and come every morning to water it. Or you can pick and choose walking through this garden. Here's some for you. Here's some for you. Oh, here's a lot for you. And you just pick and choose. You can go the whole morning. You can spend the entire day. In fact, you could go to a different garden altogether next time. And the thing is, if you think it's a good thing, just do it. You don't have to rationalize, justify it, reason about it. You just go ahead and do it. As long as they're genuine, sincere, and honest intentions to try to better someone's life, I'm a big believer that just dive in. So going back of this idea of what do you actually share as a mentor? How can I do this if I'm not a quote-unquote expert? And that's the thing, you don't need to be. And the things you even share don't even have to be related to tech. What if you could condense what took you 5 years to figure out and package that and share it with someone else so that they also don't have to spend 5 years as well? It could be about knowledge and experiences. One of my favorite things I've done this entire year was just speaking at organizations like Girls Who Code, sharing my experiences and how, in my journey to tech, I used to ask myself, do I belong? Am I good enough? Am I passionate enough? Do I really like this field? And hearing their responses, with those eyes lit up, high school, junior and senior girls, just telling me stories of how they also felt the same way and how they were relieved that they weren't the only ones feeling this way. I mean, to me, that was like, just give me the warm fuzzies. And the thing is, perhaps you know a thing about a framework or two, serverless, Redux, all different kinds of things. Maybe you can share that. Or maybe you can talk about the obstacles you faced on your journey to here and tell them about, hey, watch out for that tree. Why don't you make a left on that turn? You don't want to go that way. Go this way instead. The type of advice you give could also be both general or specific. I personally enjoy talking about, though I personally enjoy mentoring those who are both entering or switching to the tech industry, and also about applying psychology to our daily day. But on the other hand, I have a friend who just, oh man, he could talk for hours and hours and hours on end about serverless architecture and lambdas and all of that. So if you want that kind of, you just go to him. I have another friend, on the other hand, who really makes herself available to new joiners when they're learning the code base. So there's different ways we can do it. Perhaps you were a developer and now you're a manager. You can give that kind of advice, your experiences, or now you're a dev to a team lead. More so, I mean, I even saw someone tweeting about performance reviews and advice to consider when that time comes. You know, I'm a big believer, and for a long time, I used to underestimate the power of encouragement and active listening, and frankly, just being there for someone. You know, several months ago, I was helping someone apply to some jobs, and she was very apprehensive because she thought her background in music would be looked down upon. And I was talking to her, and we brainstormed ways on how to remedy that through her resume, through her cover letter, and all of that. But more so, I was reminding her that her skills spoke for themselves and that she was, in fact, a really, really good developer. But more so, what I was really doing was just listening, providing encouragement, and helping build her confidence. Today, I mean, she's happily employed at this company's innovation lab, doing great things. Or you can share connections and questions. You know, there was another time where I was reached out about advice between deciding 2 job offers. Do I take this one or do I take this one? And he's like, okay, you know, these are the pros and cons for company A, but then at the same time, company B has these kind of things. I don't know, Guedis, what do you think? And as I'm thinking, I'm like, wait, actually, I think I know someone at company A. So I said, okay, give me like 10 minutes. Called a friend, I'm like, hey, do you actually have someone who's thinking about joining that company? You used to work there, can you give your feedback, your advice on what you thought about the company? And so connected them both, the rest is history. Other times, connections are just resources themselves. There's been times where I've been shared a certain book, a certain article, a certain video that had quite the impact on my life that frankly, when I Google something, there's so many, like how do I even pick and choose? But when someone can say, actually ignore these, start with this one first, that's a big, 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 big help. And now going back to when you can, you know, we have families, we have friends, responsibilities, we have so many other hobbies and interests as well. How do you actually fit mentorship into this? And that's the thing, mentorship doesn't have to be time consuming. It's an ongoing process where, frankly, you're just aware of when you can help, and then you do it. For example, a while back, I have a lot of interests. I like business, I like psychology, I like tech, I like people. And I emailed an alumnus for advice, career advice. And now he's a busy guy. He's a co-founder of the SaaS startup out in Boston. And I'm like, I don't know if he's ever gonna reply, but let me try. And he did. And this email had follow-up questions, his assumptions, insights, things to consider. It was this long. And the thing is, we never had a phone call, never met in person, but that email had an impact. And it's because time isn't equal. You know, I estimate that it took him about 1 hour to write that email. But on my end, that email easily saved me about a few weeks worth of time in terms of things to consider, what to research, so on and so forth. And it's the same with mentorship. Other times, I think about, you know, sometimes I have a busy week, sometimes I do not. And so the weeks where I have less time, I leverage more asynchronous forms of communication, email, Slack, message boards, all of those. The other times when I have more time, then I go into, oh, actually, yeah, please, let's grab a phone call, let's meet in person, or let's have a video chat. Just staying flexible and adaptable. But really what I want to emphasize is mentorship in whatever way you can that's best for you, that you feel most comfortable with. You know, I am not advocating nor saying that you should go out and go find a mentee and say, okay, for the next 8 weeks, every Wednesday at 6 p.m., we're gonna meet and we're gonna talk about life and your career goals. I'm not saying to do that. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. It's more about taking it one conversation at a time. You know, maybe you like to write blog posts. Maybe you like to stream, maybe videos. Maybe you like to speak at events. Those are all good. And the thing is, it doesn't really have to be about your job either. You know, I have a friend who He's an avid guitarist, and anyone who wants to learn guitar, he's like, please send them my way. I just want to, teach them how to strum and all of that. He's a great engineer, but he doesn't like talking about that. He likes talking about the guitar and music. And the thing is, really, you open yourself up for future conversations. You answer just one single question. You leave the door open so that they can follow up, or maybe they don't, and that's all right. And regarding actual mentorship, it can happen anywhere and everywhere. It could be in your organization. It can be in your local communities. It can be even online. I remember one of my favorite things, I was going through Quora and Stack Overflow, and someone asked, if I don't understand bubble sort, if I don't understand some sort of sorting or common algorithm, am I cut out to be an engineer? And just seeing the overwhelming support of people saying, no, please, no, don't stop, keep at it, just work it, it'll come. But then I think about, what about the flip side? What if people said, oh, yes, please, you gotta stop, you just get out of the industry? That would have been heartbreaking. But seeing that support online was both, it was fantastic. At the same time, there's a person in my company that whenever there's a new joiner, he actively goes out of his way to say, hey, let's grab a coffee. Let me take you out to lunch. Let me connect you with someone else. So it can just happen anywhere and everywhere. So the thing is, where do you actually find mentees? There's two ways. I go to them. And so one of the best $10 I've ever spent were on these business cards. They were simple, nothing flashy. Essentially, they just had my name and my email address. And so then when I go to meetups or events, I talk, and then afterwards, like, hey, by the way, here's my card. Please, feel free to reach out. So it was inspired because, a friend was telling me sometimes it's not that we don't want to reach out. It's not that we don't want to put in the work. It's sometimes we're shy, or we're embarrassed, or we're uncomfortable, or we don't know who to reach out to. And so I'm a believer that we can actually take that first step and take that initiative. So whether it's contacting your own alma maters or schools, whether it's your middle schools, high schools, colleges, coding boot camps, they would love to have people come in and talk to the students like, this is me, this is where I came from, these are my stories, these are my experiences, these are the really, really cool things that I get to build now. At the same time, there's organizations like Tech Jobs Tour, Code 2040, Girls Who Code, all just different kinds of organizations who are desperately, desperately in need of people with your talent, with your experiences, who could just share stories. And they don't have to be these formal commitments. It could just be one time, and that's more than enough for people to see and believe. Or instead, you can take this approach of like a lighthouse. And you're out there, and you're kind of just like, hey, I'm over here, please. If you want to reach out, email me. And so for example, I have it on my LinkedIn summary, my Twitter bio. It's just a little note that says, and on my personal site, hey, if there's anything I can do to help you, please reach out. So at the same time, I know some of you are fairly famous in the whole Twitter community. So for those with large followings, there are ways to mitigate that with email aliases and filters as well. But more so, again, I was told that sometimes people don't know who to reach out to. And again, they don't want to come off as rude or intrusive or as a little too forward. Just helping them know, like, hey, I am actually a fellow ally, I'm a fellow supporter, please reach out to me. More so, what this really is, it's a communal effort. It's about how can we as a community redefine and rethink what mentorship is. Again, I think the formal programs are really great, but it's more about how can we make it more organic and more fluid. And so after this talk, I'll be sharing this repo in this online document that has tools, it has techniques, it has strategies. And these really contain actionable steps and all of that so that you can get started and adding more of a framework and more like step-by-step guide. But really that's just my thinking, and that's a few others' thinking. This really should be a mind share, a collective of everyone, of what the community embodies. So please feel free to make a pull request or send me a message and I'll add it myself. It's really just talking about, hey, actually these are things to consider. These are some edge cases. These are some outliers. This could be a one-stop shop for those who think, wow, I really can't mentor, but I really want to deep down, but then I'm like, no. It's about minimizing that barrier to entry so people can go out in a ripple effect. Granted, I do acknowledge that mentorship is a two-way street. It's not just the whole onus and responsibility isn't just on us. There is responsibility on the mentee themselves. Granted, that's probably a whole blog post and the talk for another day, but for right now, this is more about the mentorship part. And what I ask right now, as a call to action of sorts, to take this brief minute, whether it's your phone, whether it's your laptop, a piece of paper, and right now, opening up your calendar, your notes app, anything really, and adding a note, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's a half hour, even 5 minutes, to think about mentorship. So right now, I'm gonna do it, and I hope you guys join me as well so I don't forget, but whether it's next week, whether it's tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week, add a note, just so you remember what to do, whether to visit this repo or to reach out to someone, like, hey, anything I can do to help. It could be as simple as that. So let me do it right now as well. Where's my? All right, 10 more seconds. Alrighty. See, I'm a big believer. Thank you guys. Thank you all, everyone really for taking that time out. And I'm a big believer that we are like clay. We're being molded by our experiences, by our environment, by other people. Let's say someone wants to become an airplane. When it's your turn, help add one of those wings, help add one of the fins, a thruster, a turbine. But don't make them a boat. We have different destinations. We have different end goals. Help them accomplish theirs. And it's really embedding into I think we really do a good job of helping one another. That I must say. I think we are a fun bunch, helpful bunch. That said, I think we can always keep raising the bar. For this community to be known as so collaborative, where we're just helping, like, hey, you want to be this? What can I do to help you? Oh, you want to do this? What can I do to help you? That's the dream, and I think we can get there just little, 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time. It is possible. So coming back to the barbershop, you're at the barbershop, a salon, a conference, an event, standing in line, really, and you overhear a conversation. You read a conversation online, and you can help. You want to help. You'd like to help. What do you do? Thank you.